Hey there, and welcome to the Fan Boss Frequency. My name is Chris. I'm your host, and today I've got a nice show lined up for you. But if you want to know more about the show or follow other topics maybe we've talked about in the past, make sure you visit thefanboss.com. That's thefanboss.com to learn more about the show, get previous shows, leave a comment, even leave a message. And if you'd like to be a guest on the show, you can certainly do that there as well. If you'd like to leave a message for us on the hotline, on the listener hotline, visit 855-4podcast. That's 855, the number 4, spell out the word podcast. And welcome to another episode of the Fan Boss Frequency. This will be a nice little short for you, but I want to kind of dive in on something that I thought was pretty important in today's world. And we do a lot of products and services and things of that nature in our business. And I always like to try to educate people on what those things are. So today, this is going to be a little tech heavy, a little info heavy, however you want to look at it. But I want to discuss the land mobile radio, two-way radio POC as it stands today, and kind of a little bit of the history of how we got into it at DCCI, where it started and kind of where we're at today, and how it can be beneficial to you and your organization as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So two-way radios, as we know them today, they started off late 20s, give or take. And they kind of came out of necessity with military needing communications. The law enforcement kind of saw a great need to call police officers and fire departments and things of that nature that were kind of out and about. But mainly the police cars needed a way to call back to headquarters to get help and to get other people to help them assist and respond and so forth. And so they needed instant communication no matter what. That's all they were after. That's all they cared about, which makes seems like a simple problem to solve, but of course this is back before cell phones, any RF, anything was really done. And I mean, they had AM radio at best, and most people, while they had access to it, obviously it wasn't a mainstay in the vehicles and so forth. So the world of land mobile radio is kind of built on the simple promise of instant communication through a handheld device and a tower on a hill for the long distances. And then of course the handhelds evolved into mobile mounts. I'm not really sure which one came first. I'm sure mobility was always something to consider in that scenario, but you could talk really as far as the signal could reach and not a mile further, and that was it. Everything changed when the industry realized how they could marry that reliability of the two-way radio with the massive footprint of what the cellular networks were developing. When cell phone companies hit the scene in the mid 80s, it was a big deal because they were able to, for the first time, get a phone call in your car, and they had the handhelds, and that was a pretty big deal. And everybody remember the Zach Morris phone from Saved by the Bell. But again, those things had very, very, very tight limitations. Major cities had coverage, a lot of rural areas did not. And even when I got in the cell phone business in the early 2000s, we were what they called a multi-carrier store. So that way I could sell the phone that worked best for the family that lives on the lake, the family that lived in Eclectic, the family that was traveling up and down the interstates, the people that went back and forth to Birmingham for their job. Each provider offered something different. We don't see it that way today because you can pretty much use your phone everywhere you go. But years ago, IDEN, which is a Motorola concept, came up with the idea, why don't we use that infrastructure and offer the power of two-way communications? So then you had companies like Nextel and in the Southeast, Southern Linc took advantage of this technology. So they were really pioneers in this space, capitalizing on a massive shift in the cellular industry. And it was kind of a big deal because for the first time you could pick up the radio and talk to somebody across town or across the country. It's pretty slick, actually. And it really wasn't cost prohibitive for businesses, especially. One of the first jobs I ever got in the towing industry, everybody got a Nextel. And my Nextel bill was $200 times, I think they had 15 or 20 units, I can't remember. But they could get unlimited phone calls, and push to talk was all inclusive for $200. It's pretty good deal. So the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Association kind of stepped up and said, hey guys, we got to cut cell phones. So a couple of things kind of happened in tandem. The DOT regulations basically banned the use of cell phones in any way, shape, form, or fashion in commercial vehicles. Around that time, the data was changing the way cellular companies operated. And we were going from that 3G to 4G evolution. And we had a lot of other things that were kind of taking place at the same time. And really, iodine was kind of too much sugar for a dime, as my grandmother would say. So they kind of did away with it. Nextel sold out to Sprint, and Sprint said, we can figure out how to do this on a different type of platform. And ultimately they allowed it to die. So let's fast forward. After that, there were a lot of companies that kind of came to the table and said, hey, we can do what they used to do. And it was a lot of half-baked ideas, but here's the caveat. You cannot have a two-way radio that operates in a cellular capacity. As in, if you can call 911, it's a violation. If it'll make a phone call, if you can reach it with a telephone number, it's a violation. So they had to have essentially standalone devices that their entire job and their entire role in life is basically to be a two-way radio in order to meet that requirement. So in 2018, we first were introduced to a product called HyTalk from Hytera. And it was a great product because it was basically two-way radios that took advantage of the cellular networks. So there were no more repeaters, no more licensing, no more having to put our hands on every single device every single time a change needed to be made. There were a lot of management things that were very, very simple with that. And I remember the first thing I told the rep at the time was like, hey, man, we got to have a mobile. Like, you don't need a mobile. Okay. Well, eventually Hytera did give in and we got a mobile. So in 2018, we saw the kind of the vision of how it was going to work out. Then there were some things that were kind of half baked that weren't quite done yet, i.e. the data portion. And there were some other back office things that had to be addressed. Well, Hytera did that. And so they launched Halo shortly thereafter. I want to say that was 2019, 2020, something like that. They launched Halo. And then Halo was essentially the platform they use worldwide. Well, as we started using Halo more and more and selling it to our customers, we realized that we had some very unique needs here in the United States that they didn't have in Europe and Asia. So in 2023, the Horizon platform was launched, and we've been running with it ever since. So we've been in the POC business since 2018, really took advantage of how things operated with the Halo, and now we're converting Halo to Horizon clientele for those existing. And all of our new customers, of course, are going on the new Horizon platform. Now, why does all that matter? Horizon brings border-to-border, coast-to-coast coverage. It also brings other features like a dispatch console where you can basically manage the location of your vehicles and your radios from a web-based portal. And then it has other features that allow you to cross fleet and all kinds of fun things. But it allows you to take that massive network of cellular towers and use them to your advantage. It allows you to take the internet and use it to your advantage. So the push to talk over cellular, we call it POC, has been an amazing product for us. So all of that hard work and focus on the specific needs of our customers have led to an incredible milestone. When last year we were ranked as the #1 provider in the nation for push to talk over cellular, when we were recognized at the Hytera National Dealership Convention. And it was really a proud moment because I honestly had no idea that was coming down the pike. We spent years in the trenches with school systems, transportation directors, making sure their staff was protected, the operations people that work with fleet companies, just a lot of different folks and, some very, rough industries when communications actually matters. And it was kind of fun to see all that pay off. And, we've committed to ensuring that when we roll a product out, we want it to be right. Excellence is where it's at for us. So 2025, another, standout year for our company. It wasn't just in technology, but, we were starting to, become recognized in several local contests when it came to service and customer service and our products and things of that nature. So after receiving numerous community awards over the past year, it's been a very humbling reminder that while we're a national leader in communications, we're also first and foremost a local business dedicated to the people of Alabama and the businesses that we serve. So whether we're securing a school campus or helping a local business streamline its deliveries, we are in the business of making those connections, and it starts right here at home. So that hasn't been lost on us. So we appreciate all the support that you guys have put out there for us over the years, and we understand that when you put your trust in us, we have a lot to live up to. So if you'd like to take a look at our products and services at DCCI, visit dccipro.com, or you can call us at 855-DCCI-PRO. That's 855-DCCI-PRO. Or you can visit, again, the website is dccipro.com. So whenever you need a professional solution for your business, make sure you reach out to us. I'm Chris, the Fan Boss Frequency. I hope you learned something today, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. If you'd like to make comments on the show or share your own experience, visit 855-4 podcast, leave a message on our voice line, or you can leave a comment on our website at thefanboss.com. That's thefanboss.com. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode, and thanks so much for your support. Make sure you like, subscribe, and tell a friend. Have a great day.